to welcome and give our full attention to Jen.
Got my recording. Okay, 1 second. My husband is a jolly good sport about all my comings and goings, and all he asks is that I put on my recording before I talk. So I think I should do that then. I have no idea what time it is, so I don't know if I should say good morning or good afternoon. I was on a plane early this morning, so I think for you it's still good morning. So good morning, everybody. It's very, very nice to be in Palo Alto. It's a little bit warmer than New York, and very, very beautiful. And it's always beautiful to see such a wonderful gathering of Jewish women. The only thing, I don't know about my bio, but the only thing that I know that I can say about myself with some certainty is that I'm a very big proponent of Jewish women. I believe in Jewish women and their abilities and their energies and what they can accomplish both individually and for the Jewish people. So I thought that we would spend a little bit of time today exploring some different ideas, and I hope that they'll be thought-provoking. I hope that they'll be practical. So I remember, and I know that I'm dating myself, but I'm really an old buggy, so it's fun. I remember the first man, Neil Armstrong, that walked on the moon. I remember the excitement. I remember those words. Some of you are nodding. I remember, one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind. It was really a thrilling time. There was a feeling that we're going to explore new frontiers, and maybe in those new frontiers, there will be answers to life's questions. Maybe we'll learn about the origins of the universe. Maybe we'll discover things that will be beneficial to people and to things in this world. Well, since that time, the thrill's worn off a little bit, and the funding's run out a little bit. And even though we've probed further into our galaxy, further into outer space, we haven't, as of yet, come up with solutions to life's problems from our exploration. So I thought that for the short time that we have here together today, we would take a different type of a journey. An exploration, a lot less expensive, hopefully equally exciting, and that's a journey into inner space rather than outer space. And hopefully, we will come away with at least a few clues of a direction that we could take that might, in fact, help us with some of those challenges that all of us face in our life. We, as Jewish people, are called, have traditionally been called, long before any of the categories that divide. But one category that unites is the category called Am HaSefer. We are called the people of the book. Why is it that we are called the people of the book? So I assume that the original reference was to the 5 books of Moses, and the books that, they didn't start out as books, started out oral, but the books that later, that the Talmud became. But really, Jewish people are intrigued with knowledge. Jewish people are at the forefront of every different arena in which human beings seek to probe and explore the world around them. And we value that. We value our ability to explore and to try and understand. We value being well informed. the question that I want to pose to you today is the following question. How valuable is the exploration of self? How important is it that we understand our very essence, who we are, what our makeup is, in the spectrum of all the things that human beings investigate? So some aspects of exploration of self are self-evident. Just share a few cute stories. So in order to know how our bodies work, we can all understand the value of that. We need to be in sync with our body's rhythms, with the color and texture of our skin, with our body's digestion, with its secretions, with all the things. Why? Because if something goes a little off, we want not too much time to pass before we notice. I'll share a little bit about myself. I actually grew up as the daughter of 2 Holocaust survivors. My parents, my father unfortunately is no longer alive. My mother, thank God, is very alive and well and beautiful. They were the sole survivors of their families. There was nobody, absolutely nobody. They met in New York a few years after the war at a mutual relative's wedding. They looked at each other, something clicked. 10 days later, they were engaged. They made their own wedding. There was no one to make it for them. And they had a beautiful family, and I'm the oldest child of that family. But when I grew up, we understood that we only had each other, that there really was not anyone else. My parents never took a vacation, never left us alone until I was 15. That was the first time, because there was no one to leave us with. I will never forget one night at dinner. My mother was one of those traditional wives that set the table for dinner every night. My father leaned over and looked at my mother. And he said, "I think there's something on your eyelid." And she said, "No, there's nothing." And he said, "Yes, there's something." And as a result, he insisted that she go to the doctor. And they caught something that could have been very, very bad, when it was just a speck. But only somebody that had only one other person's face to look into for so many years would have noticed. She didn't notice. Her children didn't notice. So physically, it's important. You know, if you suffer from migraines, you feel that aura coming on. You could preempt. You could take steps. And even knowledge of self in terms of our psychological makeup, our psyche. So we need to know our triggers, if we're prone to anxiety, if we're prone to depression. We need to understand the process of psychological denial, because sometimes we have issues that are causing harm to us, to our families. And we need to get with the program so we can get some help. I think all this is self-evident, and you didn't need me to come to Palo Alto from New York to talk about these things. But the question really is, what about spiritual awareness? What's the value in it? Is there value in it? Is it just something like hocus pocus, voodoo, stories from the other side, end-of-life experiences? Is there value to our everyday life, to the kind of people that we want to become in this day and age, living in America with so many opportunities open to us? Is there value in that spiritual exploration? So let me just share with you a few different things. First of all, in Judaism, knowledge is key. As we said, we value that. But the knowledge is not simply to prevent problems. The knowledge is for the purpose of understanding our tools. There's a teaching, it's actually a Hasidic teaching,